Alrighty. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Brian.
So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little something that I'm currently working on before we get started on talking about AI and creativity and all that fun stuff. Let me share my screen and you let me know if you can see that okay.
Beauty.
So I'm working on, I have a solo gallery show coming up in November. So I'm making some Christmas themed pieces to have in it. So this is going to be 3D printed. It's Santa Claus riding on a reindeer, and he's got a gas mask on there.
Because
And,
he has to.
well, I mean, I would if I was him.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to be 3D printing these. I'll be selling one or two larger ones on a stand. And then I'm going to be making smaller ones that don't have the stand. And then you can hang them by his hat as like a Christmas ornament. So
Beauty.
yep. So that's one thing that I'm currently working on.
And what I'm currently working on is drawing a robot.
Oh, we're going to have fun with robots today.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
I'm not the best at talking while I draw.
That's fine. That's fine.
Do you have things to say?
I have things to say or things to share. Let's see. So, yeah. So some of the new stuff that's come out, we could talk about. Wanted to show you VisCom, which is what we'll be using your robot for. Once that's done, then I thought I could show a little bit of HeyGen, which is the AI that makes a video version of any person, but it's not really the person, and can translate that person's audio into any language. And so I played around with that some, so I got some of that I could show. I also thought it would be cool to show a little of the text AI systems. I was going to show maybe Claude, which ties into if you want to at some point share some of your poetry stuff.
I do.
We could.
It's actually a quote from D.H. Lawrence. So,
that's excellent.
Yeah. I just mentioned to you what other people don't know, because we said this before we started recording, just to bring some language in and start to talk about the human condition. In regard to help it be something that's placed next to all of these technological advances.
Love it.
How does it relate?
Yes. Awesome. Let's see. So do you have any preference on where we start?
As long as we don't start with the robot yet.
Yeah, well, I could either show you what VisCom is and show you what I've done with my sketches, or we can save that and do that after you've done your robot or work.
Let's start with your sketches.
Okay. So okay, VisCom is it's an AI image generator, kind of like Midjourney and kind of like Dolly 3, except that it works more with you and you can use it with your sketches. And so I'll show you a couple examples of my own stuff that I've done, and then you can kind of see what that's doing. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Can you see that robot sketch?
I do.
Okay, so that's a robot that I just drew up. And then I brought that into Viscom, and I'll show you. We'll show how Viscom works with your robot. But basically, you bring in a sketch, and then you just kind of tell it how you want to render it. And so here's one where I said, kind of make it look like cheese. And there's another variation, and you can create lots of variations on each one. You can iterate on them. There's one where you can actually select parts of it and tell it to change it. So this one, I selected the eyes and said, make them glow.
Beauty.
I had another one. I said, give it a little bit more of a Star Wars kind of aesthetic.
Nice.
Here's one where I said, make it look a little more steampunk, or, a little older and rusty. Here's the same one, but you can see I painted out the eyes and then just told it to make new eyes that were glowing.
Gorgeous.
Yep. And then you can start playing around and select parts and tell it to color it different ways. Here's one where I had it make a little bit more realistic looking cheese. Yeah, so that's that one. Let's see, what else did I do? This one's kind of cool because I took this is a full color illustration that I did of a dog, blue dog with a bee. And then I just told it to render it out a little more in a different way.
Now, do you tell it light source?
You can. Yep.
But in this particular case, it chose its own.
It chose its own based on kind of, I told it to, you can also tell it the percentage you want it to be influenced by your drawing too. And I also told it to, keep the blue sky in the background with the clouds like I had. There's another rendition of it where I didn't have it keep the same color of the dog, but I wanted the fur rendered a little differently. And then I had it put a collar on the dog as well. And let's see here. I've also got, oh, okay. Well, let's try, this one's kind of interesting too. So here's another one where this is my original doodle color illustration. Then I had it use a lot less influence and had it make it more realistic. So it's still based on this, but it's following my drawing less and putting in more of a realistic. And here's, even some more detail.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then here's one where it's following my drawing more, but it's still pushing it more towards realistic.
Right.
So here's my original. And then
now it seems to have, well, I mean, it's really moving towards, did you say, well, this is supposed to be a sloth, right?
Yep.
Did you say sloth? Go with the image.
I believe I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because there is a quality to your drawing that isn't being followed by the photographic.
Yes. And that's because I was turning down the influence of my drawing. So you can set it in percentage. So like with the robot, I had it up like 75%. So it followed my drawing more closely. This one, I don't know what I had it. I may have had it at 50 or less.
And how long did it take to generate those?
A couple seconds.
Seconds?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Here's one where this is my 3D render. So I designed, modeled, and rendered this, but I don't have any textures or any colors or anything on it. So all that is just a plain white material that I've rendered this robot. Then I told it, make it out of wood or wood and metal.
Wow.
And then I told, make it, more rusty metal and put it on an alien planet. Then you can see this one. I said, okay, no, but make the eyes glow. So it's the same one, but with the eyes glowing. And then here's another one where.
Oh, can you see? Show the eyes glowing again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. then I told it to make it, all metal. And then here's one where I had it make it out of like white plastic with some blue lights and stuff.
Cool.
And I had to do it similar, but make the feet wood. Yeah. So,
And these are all seconds.
yes. Yep. And it doesn't even have the 3D model of the 3D information that I gave it, but it is able to understand what it is. And yeah, but and I could tell it to make this robot out of Jello or whatever I want. And then it gives you, I'm going to show you in a second something else that's going to kind of blow your mind. But yeah, so you can then paint in any of it. And so if the eyes, when I was making them glow, I just made a selection on the eyes, and instead of typing in "make me a metal robot," I said make glowing robot eyes, and it put them in there, understood the context. And you can generate iterations of all this stuff. So it's not the AI doing everything, but it's working with your stuff more closely. Let's see, do I have anything else that's good to show? That's a good place to stop on that. I did want to show you one other thing though before we really get into this, and this is a beta part of this program, VizCom, that's not out yet, but it gives you some incredible control over what you're doing. So you start with a drawing, like a sketch like that, and then you tell it, okay, you want it rendered out like a product rendering, but then you can generate this workflow where it creates all these images and all variations that are all connected, and then you can change little things between the connections and tweak and create variations, infinite variations, really fast, and type in exactly what you want. So there's a really quick sketch of a tent, and then you just kind of connect it to that box, and you tell in the box, you say, I want a red camping tent in the woods. And it takes your sketch and it gives you like 4 variations.
So are you doing this right now, or is
this is a video showing
Okay.
off this new thing. Yeah. So it just makes a bunch, and then you can say, okay, well, now I want a green camping tent in the sand, and it still got the red one, but then it makes a green one. And then you can say, okay, make me yellow and make me blue ones, and they're all based on the drawing, and they're all interconnected. So you can mix and match parts, and it's just this is
They're doing all this. You're not doing any of this.
right.
This is the video. Okay.
Yep. But I mean, think about product design. And like, this is going to replace a lot of product design steps and jobs.
Yeah, I thought that's when we're going to get to that part too, because like, why would anybody, based upon what people want right now, as evidenced by their purchasing and infatuation with the electronic, why would anybody want something that a human being created when you can do this on your own with the machine?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all the stuff in that video that they just showed you that they did in seconds, I mean, that's weeks, months of work.
Right. So why, I mean, it's just like we were talking, I don't know if it was the last time, about the idea of like, movies. You can come home, you've had a long day, you can plug in, I want a buddy movie that is about adventure and has 10% violence, on and on and on. And AI can create a movie for you.
Mhm.
based upon your desires for that day. So why should anybody be hired to make movies anymore?
Or write books.
Or yeah, I mean, it flows out from there into all avenues of human endeavor.
Right. Yeah.
So
Is there
that's a
is,
kind of sad, but
yeah, it's yeah. And will that ever be stopped? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how it would be.
I don't either. I don't either. I think it's happening so fast, and
Like we said before, the train's out of the station, so
trains out of the station.
it is what it is. But there has to be some element of, because both of us work in the human creative endeavor field, and there has to be some kind of faith that we're not going to be, because it would eradicate so many different jobs. I mean, what's the purpose?
Well, and the thing is, I mean, it's startling how fast it's getting into all the creative endeavors. But yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit. I mean, what job is not replaceable by this stuff eventually?
There's none.
None. None. And so what does that mean? I mean,
What are we doing?
yeah. And why?
So
And
maybe it'll set up a new paradigm, though, a new way of exchange and interchange, so that it's about the exchange, not about the dependence upon the money attached to the, like, maybe it'll set up an economic system where nobody has to work anymore because there is more than enough. There's more than enough bounty. And if you plug that in, we throw away more food than every day than is actually consumed or could be consumed. Um, Maybe AI figures that out, and then we all just become cared for people who express ourselves the way we want.
optimistic.
I don't think that's going to happen,
No,
but
I don't think humanity. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
we're jumping
humans
ahead. I
haven't
mean,
been the greatest at evenly having things distributed.
it presents, we were talking about this before, it is bringing us to that place, that question about how we treat each other, and are we actually going to make that choice? I'm not sure, shifting from the I, me, mine mind. um who would have thought that it would be machines that finally bring human beings to a place where we have to decide?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it could. It's another avenue that this
yeah.
could go, where we have to really decide, okay, are we going to have billionaires anymore? The billionaires aren't going to like that.
No, they aren't. And
Who decides?
who's going to be in charge of and have the power over these things? It,
AI?
itself, possibly,
Is
possibly.
AI being programmed with integrity, compassion?
Uh, right now, it's being trained on everything that we've ever made, and then they try and put guardrails on it because it goes off the rails because it's been trained on everything.
So it's been trained in the poetry of uh thinking of the African American woman who died a couple of years ago, uh, or even like Mary Oliver, really sensitive poetry. They'll feed it that. They'll share that with it, right? We hope they do.
Sure. Yeah. Well, they basically are giving it everything they can. That's so. Yeah. In fact,
Okay.
we should play around a little with, and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
show
I
you
mean, we're jumping
Claude.
right into the dun dun
Yeah.
dun.
Yeah. Um.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
my robot?
Do you have your robot?
I do. I got a robot.
Okay. Yeah. Send it to me either an email or through the chat.
Okay, I gotta take a picture of it with my phone.
Okay.
So what else? Let's talk about some more stuff, and I will upload it.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, I wanted to show you this other thing. We won't. I'll go ahead and just fire it up and then turn off the sound. This is a new development. One of Google's AIs. They've been training it on lots and lots of videos. And here, I'll go ahead and share my screen again. So they've trained it on a bunch of videos. And so now they can give the AI a photograph and it will make it into a video.
Wow.
Where it applies real physics. It makes everything move. It's an infinite loop, and it just understands what's in the video and what would happen in the video if it was, or in the it understands what's in the photo and what it would look like if it was a moving video. And then it gives you even more control. So you can see there he's dragging the flower in the video and it moves.
Oh, wow. It's like it bounces back.
Right. Yep. Which is kind of nutty.
Yeah.
Even there's another thing that they're doing with AI and photographs where they're able to give an AI a photograph and it can reconstruct several seconds of the sound that was going on in that photograph just from looking at the photograph.
Wow.
Including words, dialogue. Because it's looking at the way things are making other things. I'm not technical enough to understand exactly what it's doing, but it's doing something akin to like how sound waves are making things move and bounce and interact with each other. And so it can reconstruct what's going on, the audio in a photograph, which, I mean, that's getting pretty crazy. Yep. And there's new stuff like this every single week coming out.
Well, there's so much about investigating the nuance of the science of things through two-dimensionality.
Mm-hmm.
Is it also investigating the science of things in three-dimensionality? It must be.
It must. Yeah, it must be. Yes, I'm sure they are. I mean, they're giving it sensors and things so that these systems can understand and see the real world and see what's going on. They've given the text-based ones can now quote unquote see, so you can show them an image of like a web page and they'll understand what it is and they can recreate and make the code for the web page or make a web page based on just the image that they're looking at, and it's all fully functional. And then they can see what they've made and then make changes based on what they've made, like they're interacting with their own creation, like almost like a person would. So they can say, okay, this over here isn't quite as user friendly that I made, or this little button over here needs a different color or whatever, and it's looking at it at its own stuff.
So it's informing itself about itself,
right? And
its
about what it's making. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Whip.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we've had at least one discussion prior, which we didn't record, where I was telling you about people who I know who have actually experimented with it, and they're happy with the fact that for them, they're creative people. It's creating imagery for them, and they're using it to create new things. And they're the last person I ever thought would say that's okay. So for people like that who I thought would be, so evidently I'm not going to do this, the rest of the world is going to, fall into with, open arms of AI. It's kind of amazing to me. And that, okay. There's some other things I want to say, but did you get the robot?
I did. Do you want to see what we can do? What Viscom does with it?
Mess with that.
Yeah, let me share my screen here. Okay, so here it is. And this is the Viscom interface. And basically you take your drawing and then, okay, you want to describe what we want this to be. So this would be let's start with this, like a rusty robot with big teeth wearing a sneaker. And then they've got several different modes here. Viscom is like their main one, but then you can make it render like if you were doing an automotive interior or a volume render, or pastel, and Technicolor is just kind of really weird. And I generally use the Viscom general one. Let's just try it. Here's it. Drawing influence, I'll set it 75%. So that's going to look at your drawing, and it's going to weight 75% more towards that. And then I'm just going to say, make me 4 images. And then you can just start with that. And then we'll see, and we may or may not like what it gets, but then we can kind of keep refining it and changing things, and doing whatever we want. So there's what it made. There's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one. And the third one. And the fourth variation. So we can either say we like one of these and then confirm and then do more variations on that, or we can just cancel it and it'll go back here and we can say, okay, we want to try something different or mess with it more. Yeah, tell me something that you want it to.
Render with hard candy, lollipop. Hard candy. Yeah, a candy robot, hard candy. And
let's do
yeah, robot made of
I'm
candy.
gonna do a 3D render of candy robot. All right. And then we'll also try it with different influences too, but we'll just start with 75 and we'll see what we get.
So
well, that to me does not look like candy.
No.
And so I'm going to just try taking our drawing influence way down and see. Now, it could be too that this particular it hasn't been trained on hard candy at the moment.
What about like if we did like lollipop?
Okay, we'll try that too.
Because it does seem like a rendering concern. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so this is when you start turning down the influence and it starts to go way different. All right, so and a lollipop robot. Let's see.
So yeah, and then you put the influence back up again.
Yep. Because I thought it was going too far. Yeah, I don't think it knows what candy and lollipops are.
Yeah.
One.
So it knows what cheese is.
Yeah, it does. Let's try a robot.
I like what it's doing with like the interpretation going from 2 dimensions of the just the teeth.
Yeah. Nice shadows on there too.
Yeah. That's not easy. So
nope.
What if we do it's made out of ice?
Ooh, okay. Robot. Let's do a Photorealistic robot made out of ice. Let's try 55%. See what that gives us.
Hmm.
More snowy than ice.
Yeah, it's looking like it's trying. Oh, that's interesting.
Now we could say, okay, we like that. And then here, let's see. Ice robot.
How
We're
about
going to now
icicle?
iterate on this first thing that it made. An ice robot. Let's see if that does anything.
Can you put icicle in there?
Oops.
Ooh.
Let's see what we get. You can also tell it to put it in a different scene, or like you could have it standing in the jungle or whatever. Interesting.
So it's starting to move towards the transparent, the nature of ice
Yeah.
with like the feet and the upper arms.
Yep. So let's say we like that, and now we want this to be, let's do a robot made of translucent ice.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get with that.
What do you think?
It's getting there. I mean, it's definitely on the there on the feet.
Yeah. I
It
think
looks
that
pretty good.
what I'm seeing too, though, is like it doesn't feel like it's had enough information uploaded. It knows all about the underlying form.
Yes.
It's trying to make everything look like mechanical, like the central circular aspect of it. It looks like it's kind of infatuated with renderings done for Star Wars.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Let's try a wooden robot. Robot made of wood.
and can you make it 100% reliant on the drawing,
Yeah.
influenced by the drawing?
Yeah. We'll see what that does. My get I don't know. I don't even remember how it does when you what it does when you do that, but let's find
When
out.
you do it 100%? Oh, that
Yeah, I don't know how if there'll be like any wood in there because it's trying to hew to the sketchiness, or I don't know. We're gonna find out. Hmm.
that makes sense.
So it put wood in there, but it kept it your sketchiness too.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's interesting. All
Let's
right,
try
let's
to
do it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's see what
try
happens there.
50. See what happens. Hmm.
Interesting.
Wow.
It wants
Oh
so
wow.
bad to make a robot with four limbs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's seeing your the top part of your drawing, just
Yes,
like the
yeah, yeah.
head. That one's not bad though.
It's interesting.
That one's not bad. Um, yeah. All right. What if we take that one and then a robot made of wood on an alien planet, and we'll just see what happens. Maybe we'll turn this back up to 75. Just
And I like it. You can see it's trying to figure out physics too. It's got that central piece put in there that I didn't put in
mm-hmm.
under the orb.
Okay.
Well, it's not the most exotic alien planet.
I
Can we
mean,
try one more?
yeah.
Instead of wood, make it made out of birthday cake.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Go back. It also saves every single iteration you do, and then you can kind of go back, and it makes them into layers, which is kind of nice.
Hmm. And it's gonna have to be, yeah, like 75% or less influence.
Yeah.
Cake robot.
Why not? You know what? I think that it renders everything like this when it doesn't know what it is.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yep.
For now.
But yeah, for now.
Give it another hour.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and then on the other hand, okay, so let's just try. I'm gonna try just see what. Okay. Let's see. Oh, let me refresh this. Okay. Can you make me a 3D robot that is made out of birthday cake? We'll see what Dolly 3 using ChatGPT will.
1 of 30?
Yeah, what is that? I don't know what that means. It's only going to make one at a time. I think you get, I think I know what that is. I think that with each prompt, you can own, oh, that's pretty good. Wow.
That's great. Yeah, it's basically a robot with birthday candles.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah.
That one's great. That one's really cool. Yeah. So once Viscom, which it maybe by next week, we'll be able to do something like this with your drawing.
Right.
Not hard to imagine that happening very, very soon. Yeah. All right. Let's try the ice one. I'm just curious.
What are you going to do?
Can you make me a robot made out of ice? Can you make me a,
Oh, yeah.
let's do photorealistic robot made out of ice? And we'll see what we get with that one. This is Dolly 3 is working a lot better than it did last time we tried. It got overwhelmed with it having just been out.
And look how quickly it's making them.
Yeah, and you know, if you do it like in the middle of the night when no one else is using it, it's almost instant. It's
Wow.
like, yep. All right. Now this is without us giving it any other than I said realistic. So like if I said, okay, now I want you to make me a 3D robot in the shape of a birthday cake, but made out of ice. Let's see if it can follow that more complex direction.
You're going to give it a migraine.
Could be. Could be.
I hope it doesn't remember us.
The other thing that's interesting about this is that it knows your whole conversation. So as you go along, like you can tell it, okay, I like the last image, but now make it, you know, with a little bit more of this, and you don't have to repeat yourself.
Well, it's okay. What I'm seeing is it's learning about that. That one gets closer to, but what I do see is like it can't quite fit the concept of ice and birthday cake together.
Right.
So, and it's really having trouble rendering as ice. So what it's doing is like it'll show in the background an icy environment, or it'll show the object holding the birthday cake, and it's kind of made out of ice. That's looks like it's starting to be made out of ice.
Yeah. Can you make it more realistic and make the ice melting? But yeah, you see how I didn't have to repeat
Mm-hmm. I
what
see
I
that when
said.
you were typing it out too, it like the words that it's submitting, one of the words was, can you make it in light gray was scary. So,
Right.
that probably plenty of people are plugging that in.
Oh wow. All right.
Okay, now we're okay. So in getting more boundaries, it goes more towards what we were thinking about, what we
Yeah.
described.
Yep. Yep. And so can you make the melting ice robot more like a painting? I have no idea what it's going to do with that. Just wanted to try it in a different style.
I can try to create that.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a limit of 30 requests. That's why it's saying
30 iterations of the same
okay.
prompt thread. And you know why they do that?
No.
Um, because oh wow. Okay. Of course I didn't tell it what style of painting, but it is more painterly for sure. Yeah, they limit you that because sometimes that's where it starts to go off the rails on you. The more you talk with it, the more it can start to make things up and hallucinate and do strange things. Um, but yeah, all right.
Okay.
Um,
So how is this different for you? Like, what is interesting, exciting, concerning about these developments to you as compared to the last time we talked?
with the pure image generation where you're only giving it text, I just as I'm trying to observe, sort of step aside and observe myself and my interaction with it, I found it fascinating and incredible and really fun. And then after a while, kind of soulless. Um, and like, well, what am I doing here? I last much longer with the Viscom stuff because it's like it's still my idea and my base, and then I'm at and then it's kind of rendering it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I lasted longer with that, but then at a certain point I was like, okay, but it's still doing a lot of what I would normally do, and it's still it's more of me, but then it's also not me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
um you know, because even like in the rendering of that, I'm still making decisions, and I'm still, things that accidents and things I happen across and whatever. So yeah, I feel a little better about, I feel better about the, I would say I feel better about the Viscom direction, but I'm still, I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still kind of still worries me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Um, I'm still at a place where I don't see it has hooks for me to hang my stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I get it feels like a video game to me. And yeah, it's become more interesting because it'll play with me with things that I've started to create, like submitting my sketch. But and it jumps because it's got reference points. for millions of people and millions of creations and millions. Yeah, I don't have to go any further than that. Everything that they've given it, it can go in so many directions that I can't even begin to consider in continuing my submission.
Yep.
That's great. But for me, I'd rather be at my easel painting,
Right.
which it's not going to be able to compete with this if competition is what it's about.
Right.
So I just see it getting, yeah, more and more intoxicating. It's like, yeah, heck yeah, this is way intoxicating.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And in some respects it I don't know if leveling the playing field is the right way to say it, but if you're not, artistically gifted, or you don't have the passion for it in order to get better at it and better at it and better at it, you can jump right in and there you go.
And so, I mean, I know that's one of the positions that people are coming from. It's like, okay, so Matt, you rarefied people who have a gift for this. Sorry, you're no longer the special element you thought you were.
Which is also not accurate. I mean,
Right. And
you're
it's like,
gifted, but you're also dedicated, passionate, and have put in a ton of work. And
but just in the way that human beings are relating to each other, and callousness, I'm
yeah.
not sure that, if that's going to really make a difference to anybody. They're going to be able to play their game, create stuff that, like I said before, it's like, oh my God. I mean, what any of the little scribbles I do compare to what could be created by somebody who has done none of the work.
Right.
And I'm not even like stuck on that point of like, okay, how did this machine get to be at the place where it can do this? Well, it was fed all kinds of work by human beings to emulate. And I know we can say that it is sentient and that it is, that's how human beings learn. So why can't a machine learn that way too? I don't think it's being fed in the same way that human beings are being fed. But I mean, again, like if I start to go down that road for that kind of discourse, it just ends up like, okay, yeah, well, that train left the station a long time ago, Matt. So, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not getting in the way. What I'll probably keep coming back to in our discussions about this is any of this interesting to me in terms of my creative process? And I think it's fascinating, but I'm just not interested in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on a sec. Hey. Hey. That's enough. That's enough. No more. Dogs heard a siren. Yep. There. That's what happens when the
Yeah, who's that behind you?
That is Wojo.
Wojo.
Yep.
Wojo wasn't interested.
Nope. He doesn't howl like the other ones usually. Yep. Yeah. If you were to ask me how is this going, how do I see this making its way into my work? I don't know. I don't know. I could see it if I was like, well, so I do more digital work than you do, and I do all the 3D computer graphics stuff. And so if I wanted to see what a robot made, if I was thinking I want to make a robot out of birthday cake, I could get some ideas and some, initial thoughts on how it would look, and I could see that useful. Or if I needed reference for something, just, but then I was going to make it my own, I could see doing that too. But I think I'm with you in that if it gets to the point where it's doing everything, then what I then
Yeah.
I'm not doing the doing, and that's a huge part of the whole thing, right?
I might as well just be, I don't know, because there's so many people who play video games. It starts to feel like I'm just doing my balancing my checkbook. I mean, which is not my favorite of thing. I mean, it becomes more and more of choices made in buttons pushed. And for me, the really creative aspect of the whole thing are the people who are doing the programming, the people who are figuring all of this out to help this entity, whatever it is, we're calling it artificial intelligence, come to this place where it could do that. Those people are doing the really creative stuff.
Yes.
It's and it sounds so, I know it's judgmental, and everybody gets to do whatever they want to do to whatever degree they want to do. But I imagine probably at some point too, if it isn't already starting to happen, there's going to be a market for human only created product.
Yeah. And then proving that will
Yeah,
be
how do you prove that?
by watching them make it
Have to be. You have to have a
in
video,
person, but that can't be video, right? Because
right? It's not.
you
You
can't
gotta,
couldn't trust that. Yeah, we
it's
didn't even get into
introducing,
the hey gen stuff, where the video AI stuff. Um,
but
yeah,
it's introducing all of these things about authenticity, um, um, what is and is not real or true, and requiring to prove it. We were talking before too about like how do you give students um, a paper to write, and how do you know they didn't just have AI? And how are you going to prove that? You're going to make them write it by hand in front of you? We're going to start teaching cursive writing again?
yeah, I
Because there's just no way to prove it.
right. Yeah, yeah. I
So the conundrums are limitless, as are all of the scary aspects and the really amazing possibilities. You know, all the little knots that could. Oh, I wanted to put this in front of you. Have you heard that part of the process of actually creating AI was developing really small microscopic AI programs, millions of them, and
yeah,
then those have to die in order for the bigger one to
yeah,
evolve?
yeah,
What the
yeah,
hell is that? I mean, that sounds monstrous.
yeah,
That becomes part of its process. Like, okay, it's okay for me to be me and kill millions of little things like me for me to exist. What is that teaching it?
yeah. That's survival of the fittest, right? Isn't that how we ended up with our human brains? And
I mean, is anybody having discussions with it about this? Who do we talk to?
well, we could ask Claude right now what it thinks of that.
Oh yeah, yeah, let's do that.
All right, here, let me share my screen again. So Claude is like Chat GPT. It's a similar thing. So now it may or may not answer this unless we put it a certain way. So what I mean by that is you can say, what do you think of this? And it has guardrails on it so that it will say, well, I'm an AI and I don't really think.
Okay.
But you can say something like, uh, um,
Is that so it won't insult anybody to have that
I think
guardrail?
so. I don't, yeah.
I mean, at
Pretend
this point,
you
who
are
cares?
an AI that has been put into a system where it is the survival of the fittest with other AI systems. What would you think about that? I really don't know what it's yeah, see?
Okay, instead of what would you think about that? Would you be willing to destroy another AI for your survival?
I do not have any instinct for self-preservation or ability to independently take actions that could harm others.
Okay, that sounds like a guardrail.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yep.
So they put up this hard and fast thing like if you put like the word destroy,
Yep.
okay, we're not going down that avenue, so don't even think about it.
Is a system for developing AI technology that mimics uh, evolution as it pertains to survival of the fittest, a viable path. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, this is interesting.
This is interesting. Biological evolution is an amoral natural process that doesn't necessarily lead to ethically optimal outcomes. AI systems designed to mimic it may not align with human ethics and values.
Wait, where is that?
That's the second point.
I don't see. I think it's up above what is. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. AI. Okay, AI systems designed to mimic it may not align with human ethics and values. It's not saying that it again. So it got around the guardrail because it's not saying AI would never mimic an
Right.
amoral biological evolutionary process. It's saying AI systems designed to mimic it may not align with human ethics and values. So it's saying it's possible that there are systems that do that.
Right. Did you read this one that I just highlighted?
Okay, so okay, that's an observation. And again, it doesn't feel to me like it's a guardrail, like we're not going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
The one underneath that is important too. AI safety research aims to develop methods for creating AI systems that are robust, beneficial, and aligned with human values. Okay, so it aims to develop that. It's not saying that it is essential that it does that.
Right. This may be better achieved through cooperation versus pure competition.
Maybe.
Yep.
So if this is part of a greater whole, and it is thinking this way, there's a lot of side doors that could go out from just reading this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's ask it this. Is there a way to make an AI system that is more intelligent than humans align with human values?
That's a good one.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Moral learning and guided development using techniques like machine ethics, inverse reinforcement learning. What is that? Inverse reinforcement learning. Hope it doesn't mean punishment. And cooperative games to train AIs that model human social cooperative values. So, is the question, can AI decide not to follow directions uh, to emulate human morals possible? Can AI decide to not emulate human morals? It's probably going to get stuck on the word decide.
Yeah, probably. Yep. In a hypothetical scenario, humans will not deploy unaligned AI. Thus, alignment is necessary for societal acceptance and integration.
What? Humans will not deploy unaligned AI? Who made that? Did they take a vote?
It's saying most human safety, AI safety researchers believe that AI systems should be specifically designed such that they align with human values. Reasons for this include, yeah,
So this is, like when we originally started talking about this, Brian, one of the things you said to me, the word that came up in developers was utopia.
right,
That they were attempting to utilize this to move towards a utopian existence for
yeah,
humans. And I said, and I think, like we both agreed, like anytime somebody says utopia, run the other way. Um, because it's all dependent upon one person's interpretation of what utopia is.
right.
Oh, that's good. The concept of utopia is a highly subjective. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, misuse of AI or over reliance on it for central planning could lead to unwanted consequences like excessive social controls, erosion of human autonomy and freedom, or missed opportunities for human growth.
Open the bay door, Hal.
AI does not inherently contain human values or ethics. Without careful design and constraints, AI could optimize societies according to standards not aligned with human dignity or well being.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it's good that it's expressing this, but I imagine this is one small part of, AI that's being revealed. How much more AI is there?
Right. And this is the version that has all sorts of guardrails on it,
Right.
because the versions that don't have guardrails have already shown to do things that you don't want. You
Right.
really don't. Um I want to have it do a little something creative.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. I keep on bringing it to the
No, that's fine. Let's
yikes.
have me have it do uh something creative or something different, or um write me a, I don't know, a,
A You want help?
yeah,
A ode, an ode to um uh smoothies in the form of a Shakespearean sonnet.
how do you spell Shakespearean?
That looks good to me.
Spear, it'll correct me.
Yeah. Okay, who's gonna read it?
You're more Shakespearean than I am, I'm sure.
No, you go ahead. I'm going to read the other. I put the other poem up in. Can you read this one, please, Brian?
Ode to smoothies, when summer's heat doth scorch the tender grass, and solar rays bake skin a fiery red. Till then I yearn for smoothies cold and sweet, to soothe my throat and cool my fevered head. Fair nectar blended thick from fruit so ripe, with ice and milk and sweet communion mixed. Thou art an elixir for parched lip, that doth my thirst and languor solely fixed. Thy chilled contents poured forth in crystal glass slide down my throat and bring sweet relief. Better than wine, thy flavor, I essay, banishing the summer's drought and grief. I sing the praises of these drinks so fine that with each sip, like heaven's manna, shine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Is that what you were looking for?
I sure, sure. All right, now let's have it. Write me an ode to smoothies in the style of a Weird Al Yankovic song.
Now, is it going to take into consideration the previous request about smoothies?
Yep. Yeah.
Smoothie, yeah.
Yep. Very different. Um, write me a poem in the style of Dr. Seuss about quantum entanglement.
Yeah. This is okay. This is pretty, it uses the word spooky at the end too.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What was that? 5 seconds worth of consideration?
Uh, barely. Yep.
If you change one, so changes its twin. In an instant, it happens on a whim. The quantum info passes unseen, spooky action like nothing else ever been. You observe Alice's particle over here, then way over there, watch Bob's appear. And whatever Alice does, so does Bob the same, without even knowing Alice's particle's name. Two particles born together and then split, but quantum entangled, they stay every bit. What happens to one happens instant to two, a quantum mystery through and through. From the smallest of smalls, this entanglement grows. That's definitely a Dr. Seuss line.
Yeah.
Linked particles, nobody quite knows. Spooky action at a distance they call quantum physics is weird after all.
Okay. Okay. Write me a poem about a boy named Matt and his pet sandwich in Scottish. How do you spell brogue?
Brogue.
Brogue.
I went to art school, so
Yeah, you sure
I don't know.
did.
Yeah. Ye carried a boot, that sandwich he made. So here's to your sandwich, that partner in crime that stuck by ye thick through the good times and grime. May you and your sandwich pal never be parted. Keep living those dreams, young Maddie, good-hearted. It's a little bit, is it a poet, a pirate poem or a Scottish poem? It does have Scottish words in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we may want
Alright.
to edit this part that I'm gonna say out now. I'm gonna have to hit it. We've been on now for over an hour.
I know, geez, it goes so fast.
It does. Do you feel like we've covered everything?
I think so. I think so.
Okay. I'm
Um,
hesitant now to say this other poem. Because I just feel like,
you want to start next time with it?
yeah, that might be a good idea.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Um, and then I have a couple folks that I'd love to invite next. Do you have? I've got. Oh, hold on just a second.
Up next, I hope
I'm
you'll
gonna stop
enjoy a
recording
skit
anyway.
by Pedro Sanchez.
All right, so there you go. I think next time we'll have a guest person join us to discuss stuff, and maybe we'll hear a little human poetry.
Yeah.
Would be a good idea.
What do you think is going to happen next? What are you looking forward to based upon what we've shown? Like, you were really interested when it started to integrate language, words.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, well, I see them tying all of these disparate things all together
Mm-hmm.
into singular things. Yep. Yep. And I see it just becoming easier and easier as well. I mean, it's already almost takes no effort, but I think it's just going to be the barrier to entry is going to keep getting less. It's going to keep getting better. They're going to start integrating all these things. And then, yeah, on the larger scale, I'm worried.
Yeah. I'm interested too in terms of animation, when they're going to be able to take like the sketch that I provided or you provided and have that move around. Go sit down over there, stand up, jump, without having like keyframes or anything like that. Because I know that I could give it 2 drawings right now and probably can go from A to B, but
Yes. We'll have to show the Spline 3D animation software at
okay.
some point, because that is what they're working on right now.
Yeah.
Where you type in like we are, but you're actually telling it what to do in the animation. So it creates what you want, and then it makes the motion and does the movements based on what you describe.
Got to tell you, I keep wanting to bring it back to the scary, spooky. What are we gonna do? But I don't think that that's really helpful. So
Yeah.
there is the scary and there is the, oh my God, that's amazing. And it's going to be so helpful. And that's what we're going to keep looking at.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Matt.
I'll see you.
Yep. Later.
And everybody else. Bye.